me to make my art, I have to be selfish. I had to find a way of putting myself into that story and that narrative, make it a more emotional experience. For me, art should be about what interests you as a person. If you're not talking about what is interesting to you and what gets you going, what's the point? My name is Damien Flood. I'm primarily a painter and I work in ceramics as well. I make abstract paintings that have figurative elements, making spaces for the viewers to be and experience, more about a mood and a feeling. The ceramic works tend to evoke ideas of existentialism and death, but in a more sort of humorous way. In 2016, I moved my studio back to my family home after my mom passed away as a way to kind of, I guess, be closer to my dad. I think this changed my practice a lot and brought about maybe more of a focus on themes of kind of rebirth and growth and inevitably death. Sometimes there is this juxtaposition in the work between a melancholy and a sort of celebration. For me, that's kind of life. So I guess I'm trying to just speak about the experience of life. I also think it's a very Irish thing, for me. You know, if you don't laugh, you're gonna cry. Some people find that kind of laughter and humor jarring and disrespectful, and it's not, it's the opposite. You're celebrating. That's something that I've always quite loved, and I just think that there's a humor in darkness. When I start out a painting, like there isn't any sort of actual resource material in a tradition sense. So I tend to actually just start them on a blank canvas and just begin. So they tend to be a sort of journey for me. I guess my work is made in the kind of cloud of unknowing and a fog, and at the end of it, I kind of figure out why it's happening. Well, these are new pieces I'm working on, so they're very early stages. A lot of the ideas for them are just coming from kind of more so traditional busts and sculptures. Specifically, this guy, he's looking at that old idea of mythology and the green man, and you're trying to make these kind of emotive heads, and then having the kind of little symbols of prosperity and wealth kind of mixed in with it. And they have this theme of gold running through them, so this kind of has this gold fever, like these little gold blisters arriving at them. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what they're trying to get at. All I know is when I was making them, I wanted them to lead me, and for me to find out what they're trying to do or the face that they wear. In this one, there is this thing that has run through a lot of my work with this idea of things being in between places. There's a suggestion of a kind of jug there, but you can actually see through the jug. So again, it's this play between things forming and unforming and happening and sort of like falling apart, and putting in these different play of information. You have this little sort of vase and then the mirror of it in a line. So you've also got this line which talks about illustrating, describing. It's just playing with how we read paintings and creating puzzles, I guess, for people to solve. And for myself in some ways, because you know what they become is sort of beyond my intention of them. If you are making something that from the outset you know where it's going and that you're doing well, you're more than likely making something that's monumentally boring. So I think kind of when you don't know, and when you feel like you're on the edge and this could all go terribly wrong, there's a chance you're making something interesting. A chance you're making something that could be of interest to other people and to yourself. That's a good place to try and live. The Dublin art scene now is feeling a different pinch than it ever was, and it's really sad. What way is it going to be for new artists out there? I can't speak to that, but I can speak to 2008 to maybe 2014, 2015. The Dublin art scene was very different, artistically speaking, in a sort of financially post-apocalyptic landscape. That was probably the best environment to be making in. People were doing very odd shows because there was no financial gain. In my 20s, the decision was a little bit more reckless, a little more foolish. And I remember kind of hitting 40, I was kind of going, okay, I have to reevaluate how this monster I've created moves forward. Now I feel that I'm entering into maybe some more, beautifully murky territory that I'm like, I don't know if this work is good or not, I'll know in 10 years, but at the moment it's scratching an itch and it's, it's feeling like I'm getting stuff out that needs to be gotten out.